Hey, I'm Dan Willingham. I'm a professor who studies human learning, here to offer some ideas about how to prepare for exams. How can we make learning easier? Well, probably the most important principle that you want to exploit is this: memory loves meaning. Things that are meaningful are much easier to remember than things that are not meaningful. So for example, suppose I showed you these two lists of words and said, I want you to pick one that I'm going to ask you to memorize. It's pretty obvious which one you would pick, right? But what the problem that I frequently see in my students is they are so eager to get to the memorizing part. They sort of rush, they're anxious about the exam, right? And so they want to start memorizing things right away. And they do that before they've really thought through how everything is organized, before they've brought meaning to what it is they're trying to memorize. So essentially, they're trying to memorize the random list of words because they don't really see how all the bits and pieces of the course fit together. Okay, so how can you get all those pieces together? How can you be sure that you've got as much meaning out of the course material as you possibly can? For notes, go to each day's worth of notes. It should be pretty easy to pick out the main conclusions of the day. The instructor's probably repeated that a few times. And there's usually between 3 and 6 main conclusions for a day. For each little piece of your notes, make sure you recognize how it contributes to one of those main conclusions for the day. For readings, you probably highlighted as you read. Ignore the highlighting. Studies show people tend not to highlight the right content. It's easy to understand why that is. It's complicated material. It's the first time you're going through it. You probably didn't understand it all that well. So instead, focus on the headings and subheadings that the author has provided. For each subheading, see if you can provide a little summary of what that section is supposed to say, and then look at how the subheadings relate to one another and how they sort of contribute to the main point that is represented by the heading of that section. Okay, so think through organization, think through how things relate to one another. In the next video, I will tell you how to be building a study guide as you're going through the process that I just described.